Welcome back to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. It's NWA Powerr. Who are you? Oh, it's Fiona. She's back. Sorry, guys. Yes,
Who are you? You're charming, you are.
I know. I'm.
You've missed me.
Yes, I've missed you like a fat guy misses cake. It's been a week. That's a good thing. That is actually that's a
Yeah,
legit.
I was thinking about that there.
We're
That
trying to
works
think
for me.
about. Yeah, you're thinking about my or not? No, I wasn't actually. Yeah, missed you on the Pope interview as well. So, guys, we interviewed the Pope, Elijah Burke, this week. That was really good. Fiona had work commitments, which was quite interesting this week. But anyway, you managed to watch Power this week.
No, hallelujah.
There is a God. In,
Praise the Lord.
yes, praise the Pope or Pastor CeeLo or somebody that's
Or praise the option to route my VPN from the USA to the Netherlands and then to the UK.
or do that, everybody. Hopefully, it works next week as well. Then we
I
can.
don't know, man. I don't know if it was a one-off because then I went to watch last week's episode and it didn't work.
Oh, fuck's sake. Fucking hell. All right.
It's a
Well,
shit show.
it worked, right? And the bad news for us in the UK is the Roku fast channels that aired. Unfortunately, there is a wrestling show, but it's TNA and not NWA. So it's wrong, three wrong letters. So maybe the next time they launch some more fast show, the channels, we will get it. However, we were talking before we come on air, and there is a bit that airs in the NWA that we're going to talk about even further. But one of the most crazy matches has just been announced. We'll get into it. There is a part of the NWA show, so it's an interesting one for Samhain, which is next weekend,
I
ladies.
know that's come round quick. We'll
Which
see it in January.
I was going to say it's going to be around. It'd be like the same as last year, wasn't it? About Christmas time when we got to watch Samhain.
Yeah,
They done a Halloweeny Christmas theme, didn't they? To
they
the
did. They did. Which
so
means we must be close to seeing 77.
I think next week's the final week before it. I think. I don't know that.
Okay.
It's got. I mean, we've had like 3 or 4 weeks of television.
Tampa. Yeah.
So love the crowd though. Crowd really good for Tampa. They're really loud, which is really good. It helps with the show um, when they're loud. Anyway, Power this week was called Hold the Line. Not sure what line they was holding, but we'll get into everything that happened. Start with Kelsey Heather, who I've never seen before. To be quite honest, against Natalia Markova in there.
I don't know where Kelsey Heather's from, but I friggin' adored her ring gear. I thought she looked amazing.
She did look very, very good. Crowd loved Markova though as well. In it, she gave her a
They
really
do.
big.
That's her home turf,
She is. It
or
was
her adopted home turf at least.
as I say, yeah, adopted home turf. Do you know what though? I thought this was like it was competitive. It was physical. There was so much stuff to like about this, and I've said this quite a lot recently with some of this new talent that NWA have showcasing, whether it's from the dungeon or wherever. But Kelsey Heather, I think Billy needs to open the checkbook up a little bit here.
Do you know, I think you're pretty much on the money there. She looked like she belonged there. She certainly gave Markova a run for her money. She is pretty powerful. I know Markova is strong and just goes for it. Markova's probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest girls in the roster there in the women's locker room. Kelsey didn't look out of place.
No, she certainly didn't. You would have classed this. You would have thought this would have been classed as a kind of enhancement match for Markova, or a bit of a what was the other sort of a match before her championship match at 77. But I loved this. I thought it was great. There were so many near falls in this as well, and it got you thinking, oh, is Kelsey going to pull a victory out?
Yeah, I did wonder at one point, particularly she did her big missile. No, it was Markova that did the missile drop
Yes.
kick, but she got Markova down at one point, and I was like, she looked so strong that I
Mm,
thought this could actually go her way.
yeah, you could have done.
I kind of felt like she gave Markova a really good run for her money, basically.
She really did. As I said, it was really competitive. But we always say, but, it didn't happen. Markova did
It was
eventually.
close.
It was close. It was very close. But get my words out. Markova eventually hit the beautiful disaster and the double arm DDT. I did pick up though, and it's a little gripe that I picked up on commentary because later on in the show, Kenzie Page is defending the NWA Women's World Championship.
Hmm.
Throughout this match, they kept saying she's facing Kenzie Page at 77, but they didn't really know that she was facing Kenzie Page to 77. The only time they made out that they didn't know was during Kenzie's match. So you're kind of like, well, you're kind of giving it away there. You're trying to change it here, but
Yeah.
you're giving it away in this match. But hey, I'm just
That's the downside of tapings done so far in advance and it being so long before we get to see them. And we've spoke about this before, the fact that we're waiting 3 months to see things
Mhm.
and maybe without thinking about it, because I have chinned them publicly on their social medias before about it, about saying, well, thanks for the spoilers for your
Yeah,
pay-per-view that you had 2 months ago that I'm going to only start watching in a couple of weeks' time.
yeah,
It must be hard to keep track of it, but I think they need to tighten up on that across the board.
yeah. They do. They do a very good job of it in the moment, though, not giving away any
Yeah,
sense.
no, but I still think it could be better.
Oh yeah,
Or just improve your taping schedule, maybe.
yeah, maybe have the PLEs back. We keep saying that, and we say that. I said that to the Pope.
Please.
I said that to the Pope, and he agreed.
Yeah.
Said that, and he did agree. Um, Smalls or Smalls. Um,
Small. So I've missed the last few weeks and missed what's been going on. So it was quite nice to have these little recaps and things.
yeah, so that's the one thing they do good. We said that before about recapping. So we saw about poor Smalls. Now he's not finished with Knox and Murdoch. I don't know if he's got a death wish as poor Smalls, but next week, which is again a good thing because it continues the storyline, right? One of the things that we've
Yeah.
said about it is the continuations of storylines and whatnot. He's got Knox or Murdoch. Knox or Murdoch. We ended up, we know it's going to be Murdoch now, next week, in handcuffed heat.
Yeah, interesting.
One of them's going to be handcuffed to the top rope, which I
So
suppose
like the person he's fighting's gonna have one handcuff or
I thought I
or
made it out
or
that he was the person
Noxie's
on the
gonna be
outside.
handcuffed
Yeah,
so he can't get involved.
yeah, that's how I see it, but I don't know.
Okay.
This is the NWA, right? They could have Smalls handcuffed next week when we start. I don't know. They wouldn't be able to reach the top rope though.
There's every possibility it'll have changed by next week anyway.
Yeah, they may have to shorten the top rope if they're putting Smalls on, if they're going to handcuff Smalls to the top rope because he.
Oh God.
Anyway,
Let's hope I can see this one though.
I hope so because Latimer's on next week. Not that it makes any difference
Yeah.
why you should watch it, but we'll get into that in a minute. Colbury Files was back. This whole sham, or whatever you want to call it, of this will and testament of somebody that we don't know who has left money to people that we don't, well, not necessarily don't know. And this
We
week,
really don't know very much about very little with
yeah,
this whole thing.
or where it's going, even.
Mm-mm.
I have no clue. This is
Maybe nowhere.
this week was qualifying or disqualifying people. Now, last week, what you didn't see was Aaron mysteriously get involved in all of this, which
Okay.
everyone was like, well, 3 weeks down the line, and now all of a sudden Aaron's in the mix of this, even though they've been doing like these tests and whatnot over the last couple of weeks. But he's disqualified now. He's out.
He's disqualified. So he was, yeah.
I can't remember what his thing was. Something could debonair.
No, he was qualified. Idol
Uh,
was disqualified.
so was. Oh yeah, that was my bad. Sorry, Aaron Stevens has qualified. I read it wrong. I'd looked down at Brian. You are right. Aaron's qualified. Brian's out. Tommy Kenzie and Hunter have qualified. Although they kind of last week walked out of it. Well, Kenzie was sort of umming and ahhing about walking out of it, and she did. Um, Markova's in.
Hmm.
Tyler.
Tyler Franks is still in.
But the only one that was limited. I mean, brilliant to Brian Idol. I mean, he was like one of the worst on the presidential candidates as well, wasn't he? So he should be used
Yeah,
to.
he's not very good with this whole professional thing on that side of things, is he? Let's be honest.
No, but he is taking credit for, and I will say this, Samhain, when it comes around, some of the biggest stars in wrestling are going to be at Samhain. We got Shotzi Blackheart making her debut.
We do indeed.
It's now just become too sweet because we've got
I
Machine Gun
know, that's exciting.
and Luke Gallows. By the way, Machine Gun Carl Anson, thanks for the follow on X. When I put it out there that they were coming out onto NWA, he followed me, and
Oh, that's true.
I was hoping the follow would lead to having him down here on a screen with us as like the cat.
You
Uh,
never know.
you never know, right? You never know. Who knows? But anyway, that's going to continue next week. I'm hoping this Colbury Files thing stops before 77.
You would think it would, but I don't, yeah, I would have thought so.
Got it right? Surely. Surely, surely. I don't know.
You would think.
NWA, right? I've got to know nowadays
Exactly.
that anything and everything generally happens on NWA
Pretty
television.
much. We know that. Everyone else knows that. It might just disappear into oblivion and we'll never see it again and never get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we had a few of those ones, haven't we? Back
Mm-hmm.
last year and the last 2 years that we've been doing this now. Surprise, was sent you that today. It's two
Yeah.
a bit years now we've been doing this. Where's the recognition, Billy, and our commission checks? Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's wishful thinking.
very much so. Got more chance of being signed by TKO and the WWE, and then Colby. I love watching Colby, and it's still a shame that that guy's injured.
I
Seriously,
know,
we
I
haven't had an
know.
update on that yet either, and see how he's getting on. Um,
Haven't heard.
Nevertheless, he was facing JAC. He's a bit of a character, isn't he? I called Cristiano Argento a funny-looking fucker, but this one takes the piss. Uh,
You're a
um,
brave man because he's a little bit scary looking.
he is, yeah, he is a bit scary looking to be fair. Not as scary as Alex Misery was when he come on this channel, but nevertheless,
This is true.
this was good as well. I love this. They said that Steve Carino was in the building. What a shame we couldn't see him on television on
I
the show.
know, I
Uh,
know.
Obviously, contractually, that would have been a bit awkward, as we found out with Natalia. But this was like them. I suppose what they're trying to do with Colby Carino was make him into because obviously there's this whole thing about oh he's a cruiserweight, he's not a heavyweight, and he was in that freeway with Latimer and Rhino
Yeah,
and whatnot. And I think where they were going with him was basically solidifying him as a heavyweight into the heavyweight division is what they were
yeah.
trying to prior to injury. And this match was very much the same, kind of the same thing because they made when he won this with the L driver, they were like, oh, he's never going to get him up for the L driver because JAC was a bit
Not
off.
a problem.
He done it right. He done it very, very well. But again, it was another competitive match, though, wasn't it? I know that was an interesting
Ah,
JAC
and I
was.
think that
Oh,
this whole show was competitive, really. There was nothing in this entire
yes,
show that I was like, it's mediocre or it's a bit of a squash match. Every single match
yeah,
was
very
was bell
competitive.
to bell and very even, very, very even throughout.
Evenly matched. Has JAC, have I seen him before on Power? I kept trying.
JC's been in before, and I was trying to, and they did mention that on commentary.
Yeah,
But I can't remember when. I think it's been quite a while.
yeah, because I was like, I'm sure I've heard the name, but I just couldn't think of who he fought on NWA before.
I have no, I would need to go back and go back and go back in my trusty notebook, which I came to the last page of last night. I need
Oh,
to buy a new book.
new book, NWA Powerr, or you can just go on Cage Match and just find out that
I
way.
could. No, but this is my own notebook
Yeah.
for scribbling my own notes for the shows down. So,
Need a new book for next week, hopefully. Anyway, hopefully. But anyway,
yep.
after a really competitive match, Colby Carino with the L driver does indeed pick up the victory. But as they were showing a replay, out comes Aaron and Carson. Now, last week, for those of you that didn't watch it, Carson
Love me.
rejected. Yeah, that's why I'm bringing it up to speed here, Fee. Um,
I appreciate it.
but you're welcome. Carlson rejected Aaron Stevens last week. As we've known over the last couple of weeks, Aaron's been trying to basically become mentor or something of Carson Drake. But this week, all of a sudden, things have seemed to have changed, and they were out together and they were just going to talk about stuff. Then, of all people to come out in the most randomest thing I've never seen in my life, the sinister minister, Jim Mitchell, James Mitchell Jr.,
Hmm.
comes out, calls Aaron a liar, low life scumbag.
Oh, he was full of all the insults, which he finds quite endearing qualities.
Yeah, Aaron was like, yeah, and so, but he did say that one of them has to go. And initially, I thought they're going to have this match, but then Aaron accepted. But then Billy on comms said, "Oh no, it's going to be next week." But
Hmm.
what we've learned since, so we don't know if there's anything that happens next week. Assuming that there something did happen and it's going to lead to is that Selwyn, Jim's fucking me, James Mitchell just cut a promo. And on this promo, he announced, and I'm thinking this is a first time ever, correct me if I'm wrong, people, 6-man casket match. How?
Which I'm presuming will be the Lost,
Yes.
Gags, Lev, and Misery. I am
BFT and
presuming.
BFT and Carson?
I
Does
don't
the
know.
does the loser of this leave NWA like out of Aaron and Jim Mitchell? James Mitchell, Jim Mitchell.
Ooh,
I don't know. One of them
I
has to
hope
go, right?
not.
That's what they said.
There's room for the two of them.
I'm only going by the one of them has to go. That was the bit I wrote down here. One of them has to go. That's what they were
Yeah,
saying. Does it happen? I don't know. But I mean, six man. Why big's the casket?
maybe there's going to be six individual caskets around the ring.
Or three?
Or three. Yeah,
I only
because you
need
can
three
get
of them.
double ones.
Okay. Any?
Oh, well, three, yeah. And maths was never my strong point.
Hmm.
What can I say?
But we'll find out. Anyway, look, we don't even know what's going on next week with this yet, let alone coming up at Samhain, which will be Christmas time probably for us. Before we get to see this. So interesting. But anyway, what I love about this Knox and Murdoch stuff, and you didn't see this because they done this interview this week, and they were like worried. They were joking. It was in jest, and they were saying how they fear Smalls, and they'd been doing this last week as well. They were, oh my God, Smalls, Smalls, Smalls. Um, and then obviously, they were saying about mental side, and he's crazy, and they're all scared, and they both laughed, and then Murdoch accepted the match for next week. I have no idea what to expect out of that next week. It's going to be an interesting
I'm
time.
intrigued.
Or Smalls
Very
still.
much so.
Or is next week where I think that perhaps Smalls gets the measure of revenge and brings out the Immortals? Perhaps. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm just trying to. He done a team last week. I'm not being funny. Me and you could have done better than what they did against Knox and Murdoch as a team.
So who did he have with him last week?
God, now you got me going through my
Nah, putting you on the spot. I'm sorry. Again,
notes
did not
now.
watch. So
I can't remember. I think it was in my other book, funnily enough.
it's all right.
Anyway, it was a team that I'd never seen before, if
Okay,
that makes any
that
help.
narrows it down.
It narrowed it down to about 3 million. Yeah, I know. Anyway, yeah, so he had a weird team. I mean, to be fair, there was no, they were hardly about the same size as bloody Smalls, to be quite honest with you.
Okay,
Anyway, moving on. Now, you didn't see Bit Crush last week.
I did not. I heard some things about last week's Bit Crush that
Ah,
made me go, hmm.
well, this week, um, let's go back to last week 'cause you're going to need to. So last week, Mondo was screaming for Mel, and who the fuck's Mel? And you had the two ex-bar people from Silent Uncle Billy's thing there.
Hmm.
The week before, and I can't remember if you saw it the week before. The week before, Tiffany Nieves was talking to Mel, who is the nerd from Bit Crush,
Hmm.
and Vic, the guy from Conflict Resolution.
I vaguely remember that. Uh-huh.
Right. So they were talking, and last week, Mondo was going mad asking for Mel. He was screaming for him. Out the door comes Mel, Tiffany, and the guy Vic from Conflict Resolution. And Tiffany's like wiping her face. It's like, it was
Okay.
like and doing her hair, yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so
Okay. I get the picture.
you get where I'm going with that. Anyway, so that kind of brings up this week. So Tiffany's talking to Mel. How's it going with Vic? He's always so positive. Well, duh, that's what he's there for, kind of thing. And so she has a plan, all this sort of stuff, and Mel's talking, and now she's going to give him an explanation whenever this explanation is going to be. What? Yeah, I
About what?
don't know. This is why I have no clue. Um, it's
Shh.
getting confusing. Uh,
It's got to be Billy that's behind this all. Must be.
it was
It
just
sounds like a Billy thing.
I would have loved to have spoken to you about this last week when that door opened and they walked out.
I'm gonna see if I can watch it back. And if I can get hold of it, I promise you I will give you a call. You I probably don't think it's something that we want to record, but I promise you I'll give you a call if I get to see it.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, it was just anyway. Yeah, so an explanation, whatever that may be. She had a great match actually. I mean, she was TBMA or she was wrestling last week. I can't remember. She was wrestling last week. She had a really good
Okay.
match. Anyway, I said about Latimer being on next week. El Dragon Niam, is that right?
Nahan, Nahan,
Uh-huh.
Nahan. Yeah. He's a
If
big
he's a pro. If
badass looking dude.
I was Latimer, I would have turned around and gone, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
You sounded Irish there.
I know, that was the whole point, right? That was the McGregor, right? Come on.
Sorry. Right,
That
I'll
was
stop
the whole
laughing.
point. That wasn't done unintentionally, done deliberately.
Okay, my bad. Oops.
Yeah. So that's what I would have said if I was Latimer, right? Because obviously Silas has been calling him out and he's kind of rejected Silas recently and sort of said you're at the back of the line. Now we've got this guy, and apparently he's at the front of the line because next week he gets a title shot.
Ah, fair play to him.
What did he do? Win it in the back of a cereal box?
Put your name on a card and draw out a hat and maybe you got
Yeah.
lucky.
I mean, how the hell has he got a title shot and Silas Mason hasn't?
Yeah, strange one.
Work that out. Answers on a
I
postcard.
can't. I
Well,
can't, to be honest with you, there's quite a lot in NWA at the moment that I can't figure out just now. So I'm just like, it is what it is.
yeah, it's saying as well. Let's be honest. He's not losing the title next week. Let's just say it out
Yeah,
now.
fair point.
Latimer's not winning, not losing the title next week. Let's be real about this. Anyway, let's move on to another debut on NWA. The former, I can't remember her name, Electra Lopez in WWE, I think it was, or something like that. She was part of Aligo del Fantasma with Sam.
Okay, I did
Oh,
not know that.
yeah. Carissa Rivera, is that right?
Rivera, yeah.
And again, so this is my thing. I thought this match was great, but here's my thing with it. There was no chance in hell that Kenzie was losing this match. Markova was on commentary, by the way. Wouldn't it have been better? I know the Burke doesn't have a 605, right? But
Hmm.
to at least give people a thing like, oh, she could win this. Why not have Kenzie, who was a fan favorite, by the way, when she came out in this one? Why not have Kenzie say, this was meant to be a title match. You don't deserve it because you haven't beaten anybody. If you can last 605 with me, you can have the match next week. Have her
Yeah.
then beat the time limit, not pin her and beat her, but stay the 605 limit, get the title match, and then lose that next week because it then gives you a little bit of doubt, right? Because they're like, oh, she's lasted 6 5. You knew that she weren't going to beat Kenzie. There was no
Yeah.
chance of it happening. As good as the match was and as good as she was, you knew she weren't going to win, right?
Yeah, that's the downfall of the way things are at the moment with them, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I liked Carissa Rivera. I thought she was really really good. I thought the match was great. Going in, I mean, going in with Kenzie's always going to be good anyway because Kenzie's
Yeah, well and truly. And again, it's like I said at the start, it was really evenly matched up.
it absolutely was. But because the title was on the line, you instantly knew that Kenzie was winning the
Yeah,
match. Just a combination of how. And obviously, Mark Over on commentary, they had a little stare off going. So it was then kind of, oh, whoever wins this will go to face Mark Over. When earlier on, it was Mark Over's going against Kenzie at 77. There
Yeah.
wasn't any sort of, it could have been taped week, it might not have been taped at the same time. We know all of that kind of jazz happened.
Yeah, they chop and change when they do the TV
Yeah.
series. Although it's
So
done, they chop and change. They need to streamline that a little bit and be a bit more careful with their editing, I think.
or just tape it in order. That would work,
Well,
wouldn't it?
yeah, there is that.
That just sounds like the most simplest thing to do, right? But hey ho, look, here's where great match though. You can't knock the match. The match was really, really good, and I enjoyed it.
Kenzie's robe's amazing. Kenzie looked brilliant.
She did.
She's actually with the robe. For me, she's come out really looking like a champ. Not that she didn't look like a champ with a
Yeah,
belt and a year before, but to come out with that extra, she's taken it up a notch.
yeah, she has. She's kicked it on a bit, hasn't
And I'm not saying that she's given me blooming Charlotte Flair vibes or anything like that with the robe, but having that extra, it's just elevated her position just a little bit more for me on a personal level. I'm just
she?
like, I'm looking at her going, yeah, that's my champ.
Yeah, you just made me cringe by saying the word Charlotte Flair. No way. I know what you mean though. I get exactly what you mean. It's really kind of it's weird how something so small, like not I don't mean that in Kenzie's case, but something so small in terms of wearing something like a robe can elevate someone to another level
Yeah,
in terms of
and that's
presentation.
what I feel that she's done with that. I thought it looked great.
It did look great to be fair, and she picks up the big. Obviously, the Kenzie cutter picks up the victory.
I'm still a little bit confused though with the whole Kenzie thing because some weeks she's coming out and she's over and she's a real baby face, and other weeks she's coming out and she's not.
I think it depends where they are.
So it kind of chops and changes, which I'm not quite so keen on.
You can bet your ass she's going to be a heel at 77 going against Markova. I know it's in New York, but
You
like
think?
100% she will be a heel.
Markova's the blooming NWA darling though, isn't she really?
I mean,
Even though she's
well,
not champ.
this is what a 45th title shot in the 3 years or 2 years that we've been doing this.
Something like that.
Listen, she's worked hard for it.
She has worked her butt off.
She's more believable now as an than ever before in terms of whether if she's going to do it, you believe that she's going to do it now, whereas in the
Yeah.
past, for sure. Um, Main event. This was the fucking hell. Now, what? Now, this is a good way to end NWA Power. This was a fucking fight and a half. This. So for weeks, KFW and Joe Kazana Promotions have been at each other's throats via a lot of backstage stuff.
I'd love to see a full KFW versus JCP show.
Yeah, because we're kind of we're getting to something that's happening at 77, but I would like that. Why don't they
I
book?
would love that. Just put it
Come
on
on,
YouTube. Just go for
Tommy,
it. Put it on
Joe.
YouTube. Put their champs up against each other and just see them knock the absolute
Problem
sick.
is, doesn't Carson Drake nearly own every fucking title in the independent in the fucking
Well,
in
then let's just
WWE?
watch him knock the shit out himself then. Bat himself over the head with a few steel chairs and then
We might get lucky with that at the weekend, actually. We'll talk about that in a bit.
I know. Exodus
Diet
time.
time, Exodus time. Yeah, but this was a fight and a half. This Tommy Hunter and
Tommy Henry and
Tommy
Hunter
Henry
Drake.
and Hunter Drake. Now that's a storyline that's died down a little bit. Kenzie, Kylie, and Hunter.
Has it though?
Well, we don't know. I mean, that's yeah, the ending of
Well,
this.
I'll get to that later on in the match.
I mean, this was again, this was just a fight. This was like, they started quite quick. Hunter come in, started really going quick. Tommy Henry come in, slapping the crap out of AJ's gut for most of this. But then obviously the tide shifts as it normally would do in those types of matches when you
Yeah,
get the guys versus the smaller guys. The tide quickly changes, and poor Tommy got absolute hiding in this for the, for the
he did.
majority.
He did
Uh,
indeed.
then the hot tag, and then it just goes to
All
shit.
hell breaks loose.
What did Justin Roberts say once before the match at AEW? The shit hit the fan in this, and it went off, didn't it?
It
Literally,
really did. It
they
really
reckoned
did.
this, and then
Pizza boxes, tables, the
shot
works.
that shot with the pizza box over Hunter's head. That was sensation. It's gone to the back at this point, by the way.
Yeah. And this is where I'm coming back to you when you were
Yes,
talking about the storyline had kind of died.
yes, because
Because who gets involved in the back?
Kylie.
Kylie.
She jumps on the back of AJ. I think it's
As
hit
he's attacking Hunter.
attacking. He's attacking Hunter, by the way, not her dad, who's being attacked by Casey, by the way, Casey Kazana, by the way, Hunter. Um, we turn around next, and Scott Wheeler's on the floor dead at this point.
Poor Scott.
Poor Scott. And then Kylie gets hit by the book, or with the book.
It's a
By,
beautiful golden book now. I like the new version. I prefer the new version than the black one, the old black one.
yes. Then there was a chair to the throat of Hunter, I believe.
Hmm.
And Tommy was getting choked out to end. That's how Power went off the air this week. That's a great. Do you know what though? That brings me back to the old Attitude Era days of the WWF, or back in when it was WWF, where Raw went off the air and you're like, I've got to see this next week.
Yeah, what's going on? The cameras have stopped rolling, but we know that this it's still kicking off.
Exactly that. And yeah, that is bit where I need to watch it next week now. Not be we'll get a follow up. We won't necessarily get a match. It'll be a follow up, definitely.
Oh, you never know. That would have been quite cool though if the cameras kept rolling and we go into next week, or even if they put something out this week and saying, "Oh, this is what happened when we went off the air."
I would love it if Power come back on next week and they're fighting again.
That'd be fun. Oh, they've been fighting for a week.
Yeah, they carried on. That would be sensational. It was, as you said, a competitive, hard-hitting version
It
of
really
Power.
was. Like, as an episode for me,
Really
that
good,
in terms of action and the quality,
brilliant.
that was pretty high standard for me this week in comparison to some of the weeks that I've seen over the last couple of months.
That really was a good week. I really enjoyed it. Before we get on to what we're going to be doing next week, what are you doing this week?
I have Pro Wrestling Scotland tomorrow night on Friday, at View Park in Uddingston, so that's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That
And
will
then
be
next weekend, I have two shows with W3L.
perfect. That's going to be a good couple of weeks. So what we're saying is, obviously next week we're going to be back on Monday with Hexodus. It's a bloody big pay-per-view weekend as well. I've got Bound for Glory Sunday. I've got fucking Clash in Perth or whatever it is, Crown Jewel,
Well, that's Saturday, isn't it?
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, results.
Ah, do you
I
know what?
love PLEs when they're on the other side of the world that's east instead of west.
I don't mind WrestleMania going out there, but other places, on the other hand, not so much like Saudi. Yeah, I'm looking forward to. But I've got that, then Hexodus squashed in between. So there's
Yeah, that'll be fun.
review Bound for Glory and Hexodus on Monday night. Obviously, you're going to be joining me for the Hexodus one, which we're looking forward to. Just as England score another one against Wales, by the way, for those of you that are watching that. Have you heard any noise from downstairs, Fee?
No, I have not.
No, just there is another the minnows of football are playing as well, ladies and gentlemen. Um, Scotland are playing 0-0. No, it's currently 0-0.
Okay.
Scotland and Greece.
I'm not biting.
I know you're not. You're going to wait until we record it.
I'm
Anyway,
not biting.
big thanks to the Pope as well for this week. So next week, you will maybe in the Exodus, if I get time, hopefully, you will see a new intro to our NWA shows going forward, or any show that
Fancy.
me and
We
Fiona.
gone fancy.
We do. We're going to get fancy. Any shows that me and Fiona do going forward will have a special introduction. So
Ooh.
look out for that. As Fiona said, she's going to be doing some shows next week as well, but we'll be back on Monday with Hexodus. Until then, everybody, from Fiona Loughlin, from me, Adam Cousins, you've been watching the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. Buckle down, stay safe, and goodbye.